Have you ever gone into a practice thinking, today I'm gonna get better at volleyball? And then by the end of it, you end up so pissed off, so frustrated, and think, wow, what a waste of 2 hours of my life.
Yeah, that's basically how the first 2 years on the AVP went for us. So we talked to Geena Urango, found out that she has an actionable plan to help her narrow in her focus during practice.
She writes down 3 specific things she needs to work on for that specific practice, and at the end, she identifies what went well and what she needs to get better at for next time.
All right, so here's part 1 of our 3-part series with Geena Urango and how to practice smarter, not harder.
I have always had a tendency to kind of get in my head a lot, and so I'm pretty hard on myself. I still have a tendency to be. Obviously it's a muscle that you train, and I'm just trying to continue to work on that. But before, when I first started out playing on the AVP, I mean, I would have a loss and sometimes I would cry. It just would get to me so much. But I just think I've definitely grown, and like the brain is a muscle, and we can train it to become as strong and as positive as we want it to be. So this program, I started working with Nicole Davis last season. She works under Michael Gervais, and
you were featured on the cover of Mindful magazine not long ago.
Their whole concept is like mindfulness, and especially when it comes to athletics, I think that's really important because so often you get emotionally involved, and that can sometimes take away from your performance. And so being mindful always is to kind of separate the emotion, but being more rational and practical towards making improvement, or just having goals in mind and narrowing your focus to reach that flow state a lot more easily. I like to do my goals or my focal points before every practice and before every tournament, and then I also like to do positive and negatives post every practice and post every tournament. And I think it's important to do that just so that you can continue to hone in on different focal points, but then also shift your goals based off of success, etc. And it's always good to evaluate yourself. Today at practice, I'm going to focus on getting out to my PO, which is your point of hesitation on your approach. So after you pass, you get out, wait and stop, and then come in hard and have a strong approach. The second thing I'm going to work on is facing my set in transition. So transition plays can sometimes be hard to get your hips all the way around the dig. So I'm going to really focus on lining up my hips so that my attacker knows where the set's going to be. And the third thing I'm going to work on is being mindful at practice. So I'm always going to ask myself what went well and what can I do better, especially during the live play. I think that's really important. What it's done is it's made my practices a little bit more like game-like, in the sense where I am creating situations that simulate an actual match, so that when it comes to an actual tournament, I'm a little bit more prepared mentally for that. But also in the sense of tournaments, I come in with goals and I evaluate myself during matches, after the end of the tournament, and in the end, I have this better mindset as far as my attitude and my effort. If I'm able to control those two things, which is always the case, then regardless I'll have succeeded, win or lose. Obviously the goal is always to win, but there's other ways to evaluate your success rather than just a win or a loss. One of the major benefits of doing these steps is I have a much more positive outlook on everything involving my volleyball career. And I think it's important to, like I said before, to not just evaluate yourself on wins or losses, but to measure your small goals, measure your small successes along the way. And it helps me just in general just have a way more positive outlook on everything, and being more appreciative of just like the opportunity to play in itself is like take that home with me.
So obviously that was part 1. Part 2 is coming out tomorrow, which will go over all her drills and her practice plan.
And guys, thank you again for watching all of our videos. We really appreciate you guys. So if you guys like our videos, go ahead and give that little subscribe button a click. If not, then don't, but we'll see you next time.
See you tomorrow.